Hey everybody, it is Mr. Webb. We are kicking off Southwest Asia. Um, it's kind of crazy that we're going to be doing real lessons and all of this online, but we're going to make the best of it. Um, Southwest Asia is just another way for the Middle East. Using the term the Middle East is like a super Eurocentric white person way because like it makes no sense. Middle East of what? Where? Like how? Like could be Middle East someplace else. Whereas Southwest Asia is a more like appropriate term because it actually tells you where it is. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna give you guys this quick PowerPoint. Um, I'm going to throw up a link for you guys to look at the map of Southwest Asia. That is not for a grade. That is merely just so you guys have an idea of where Southwest Asia is and stuff like that. Do not sweat that. Your assignment is an acronym summary. And then if you are really motivated and want to look at some VR goggles, I got that for you too. Um, Big takeaways for today is that you need to know that the landforms in Southwest Asia have a huge impact on how people move and live in the region. A lot of deserts, obviously, but there's also some peninsulas that are really important. The most valuable resource that has a very arid climate, and there's only a couple of different ways that crops actually grow in the region. So this is a political map of Southwest Asia. You guys will notice that Turkey was also involved in Europe when we did that. A lot of people in Turkey view themselves as Europeans or they view themselves as Middle Easterners. It, it it's just a really interesting like cross between the two. Um, Also, you'll notice that Afghanistan is kind of near all these other like former Soviet Union republics. It has more of a Middle Eastern culture to it than the other ones, so it gets brought into Southwest Asia. Again, you don't not have to do the map like activity, but I recommend that you do just so you kind of know, and so that way when somebody says like, "Hey, like I know somebody who's stationed in the United Arab Emirates," you can be like, "Oh yeah, I know where that is." So the physical geography. Much of Southwest Asia is built up very high. So if you look at this map, you can see there's a lot of orange. It's like a high plateau. There is some low parts in here, and you can see here, this is the Fertile Crescent right in here, right through Iraq. Um, there's really two major peninsulas that make up Southwest Asia. The Arabian Peninsula, which is this big old thing, and the Anatolian Peninsula, which is essentially like the thumb, which is Turkey. So we talked about the two big peninsulas. You have major mountains over here in the east. This majorly important fertile plains. It's one of the cultural hearts of the world, the Fertile Crescent. Um, Really built around the Tigris and Euphrates River. Um, Really cool thing, there is a completely landlocked saltwater lake called the Dead Sea. So it's really not a sea, but people call it a sea. That is so like salty that you cannot sink in it. It's nearly impossible to sink in it. Like you can just put your hands behind your back and kick your legs up, and you will sit there and float. It's 9 times as salty as the sea, which is bananas. There's a huge amount of natural resources in Southwest Asia when it comes to minerals and oils. Um, if you were looking for anything else, wood, iron, stuff like that does not exist. It is very dry. So oil and the control of oil is going to be extremely important. So this GIF or GIF, whatever you want to call it, I put it up here to show you about the climate. it shows you the amount of rain that comes in. So if you look and see here up near the equator, it's very dark because it rains constantly. In the Sahara Desert, you can see it's very white because it doesn't rain that much. If you look over here, this is the Arabian Peninsula. It stays pretty white throughout most of the year. If you go over here, up a little bit and into Iran, Afghanistan, and this is Turkey right here, you can see that it has very, very dry months, but there's also some wetter months in there. It's more similar to like Utah in how it gets rain than anything else. So there's four main climate regions. There's this Mediterranean climate. The Mediterranean climates are going to be right up here along the edge. That's going to be like Italy. There's going to be a major desert area, the semi-arid, which is going to be like New Mexico, Arizona, South Dakotas type of thing. And then there is like the Rocky Mountains highland. Now, what you need to understand is there's big differences between the deserts in Southwest Asia. You can have this, which is Saudi Arabia, and if you go a little bit further north, you get this, like the excuse me, this salt flat in Iran. It's crazy what you guys can get. They're both deserts. They both get a limited amount of rain, but they're both very different from each other. So here's your assignment. You are going to make a summary of Southwest Asia. So again, you've watched the video, that's always one. You're going to take the quiz after this over the video, that's two. And then for Friday, you have to make a summary over what is Southwest Asia. So you're going to have it start with an M, then the next sentence is going to be with an I, then a D. So if I was doing one for myself, like Mr. Webb, like I would say like M for Mr. Many people think he's depressed. R really loves his job. W willingly goes to bed at 7 o'clock. So you can see how they're like sentences, and those sentences define me, even though everyone is beginning with the first letter of my name. You're going to do the same thing for the Middle East. You just get a Google Doc, and I'm asking you to define the geography of the Middle East in one, two, three, four, five, six sentences. So not that bad. Um, I really encourage you guys to look at these YouTube videos too. This fight for Fallujah is really good. You don't have to have the goggles. You can just put it on your phone and just don't put it in goggle mode, and you can turn around and look and see like that. So Fallujah is in northern Iraq, and it is bananas when ISIS was there. If you guys have questions, anything at all, let me know. I am more than happy to help you guys out. This is not a big deal. Just shoot me an email and I got you. If not, remember, um, you watch the video, you gotta take the quiz, and then you've got the Middle East acronym summary. Good luck.